guys actually let's take this side of the room. This side of the room, you guys. No worries. Okay. And then maybe two. Oh, and maybe two. Maybe if somebody want to hand out a couple more tickets, or maybe ask the person to get out some extra raffle tickets. That'd be great. Yeah, we get there. Or if you have someone really engaged and you want to give them extra and you answer some questions, just run on hand out some extra raffle tickets and smile at it a little bit.
Oh yeah. I will. This is.
I'm not playing. Look at me. If I have to come find you, you won't like the It's 103, that means 109, I say see you.
She's up here. She was up here. Okay, I'll circle her. Yes, ma'am. Down payment, the money you put down. Down payment is just, it's a reference of what money you have in your back pocket to put down on what you want. And what you refer to houses, put your down payment on your house. Is that? You're welcome. No problem. Okay. I mean, all I know to do is plug it in. You may have to go into your settings to see it. Because I think when I saw someone else struggle with it like this, you have to go into their settings. Yes. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. You know, because Mama is not here. Mommy's going to get what I she'll know and she'll put you down. Okay. You're welcome. Yes, please. Overnight. That's 5:30 class. Yeah, I sent you that website. Okay, yeah, I'll send it. I'll send me another. I'll do that, okay? You can go out this door. Yeah. Where you going, mister?
I've got the plumber, sorry. Are you plugged in?
Bye-bye, Desmond. Bye-bye, Desmond. Yeah. Thank you. Ladies, we're very, you go through her business and stuff. I appreciate that. Gotta push every limit, every limit. Gotta push. Both of our sons.
I can take a couple more.
Are you guys ready? Are you guys
You put your name. All right, is this the real? Okay. And so if you guys want anything,
Are you learning, are you getting anything out of it?
Oh, yeah, this is real.
I'm glad.
okay, thank you.
You know, I can wait, because we can meet in person. I'll get you there. And even my kids, I'm like,
Okay, well, I think it's gonna start every day. Is that right?
but it really is.
Yes. Yes. Because I pretty much grew up in this neighborhood too. It being right up down 23rd Street. So I know how everything gets going between First and Marlboro area. Marlboro area is really good area too. Yes. Yes.
All right, hold close door, hold door. Okay, we are with, good morning, we're with.
Yes, yes. I thought about that too. We want to be for our grandsons. We got some little
You can
grandsons.
start telling what was your work. I am right here.
See, there's no people.
Because Race Makeover has partnered together and decided to do the community agent in action. And basically, they want to have some kind of pushing drive for realtors to go out to the communities and help those communities become first-time home buyers. I joined it, and if you can tell you why she did it, because I believe in black home ownership, pretty much. I always believed in it, and I know that a lot of people are fearful of home ownership, but I believe that it is one of the best things that we can do for ourselves.
And I don't think it's fear, I just think it's the unknown.
Yeah,
That
the
people
unknown.
don't know that it's possible, I think is the truth.
Yeah.
And so what we're going to talk about today, you've heard about the lending process, we're going to talk about the home buying process, and we'll start with doing introductions of ourselves. Sean, you'll start.
And I was at Perry Dillon's office, which is off 75th and Mission, which is out on the big line. I've been doing real estate since 2019, and that was basically what I wanted to do. I mainly dealt with home buyers, and I've done 4 or 5 sales a year, and basically I just enjoy it, and I like to show people homes and help them get into a home, and I get satisfaction out of, being at the closing table when someone walks away with their keys.
And my name is Stacy Johnson-Cosby. We talked earlier, you heard about it earlier, the goal is to build wealth. One of my personal missions this year in particular is to help more people build wealth, and the way we build wealth, there are many different ways you can do it. You can buy a business, you can inherit the money, or, like I like to say, you can own a home. And so my goal is to help more people enter into home ownership. The National Association of Realtors said that the lowest, the families with the lowest percentage of home ownership are black families. And that's at 43, 44%. Then after that, Hispanic families at 52%, then Asian families 61%, and white families at 74%. So no one really has the level that I'd like to see, closer to 100%. But what we need to do is close the gap, and those who are at the bottom, we need to pull them up towards the top, and we need to get everybody closer to 100%. So one of my personal goals is for more people to own homes, because that is, and real estate, because that is the way to the American dream. You see my information there. So a question I have in the room, what are some of the reasons that you want to buy a home? Why are you here?
The stability for my children.
Stability. And then we see that during the pandemic where people needed somewhere to be, and those with a home already had home base. Yes. Was that, did you say something? Or that was you that raised your hand? Yes. Did you hear that? That we pass something down to the children, and that build generational wealth, which is one of my number one goals. We're gonna talk about what that looks like, what that means. So building a family legacy, because so many families, in my family, I was lucky, my mom owned her home, and my grandmother, my grandfather, my aunts and uncles. And so when my husband and I got married, our first year, we bought a home. You know, we rented an apartment 1 year, and then we bought a home, because that's just what we saw. And so if people don't see it today, we need to have them see it now, with those of you in the room. And so we model it so it becomes normal. People say, you know, oh, I can buy a home, Stacy bought a home. Or when you get married, you buy a home, or when you finish college, or finish high school, whatever it is, that we make it normal when people see it. Somebody else had a hand up. Why else, with some of the other reasons to own a home?
I think y'all covered
We
it.
covered it? Okay, we missed anything? Okay, so generational wealth and stability are two things. What are some of the barriers that you are facing as you try to buy a home, or as you've explored it or thought about it before? Yes, ma'am. Credit and finances. Those two things, the National Association of Realtors said the two biggest barriers for those who are the black and Latino families, the two biggest barriers are credit and finance. Those two things right there. And so one of the things that we're doing today, and especially with Marla, is you're covering those two things. So if there are credit issues, she will know. When you visit with Marla, she will know. The person that you need to make sure your credit's okay. You know, you see all these commercials about, you know, getting your credit right, all that kind of stuff. What I would say before you do any of that, talk to any kind of credit repair person, talk to the loan officer first. That should be your first stop. Because when she pulls your credit report, she's going to say, yes, we will loan you the money, or no, we won't. And if the answer is no, we won't, why? And then, like she mentioned to you earlier, she's going to say you need to pay this off, or pay that, or do something differently. Your first stop, and it doesn't cost you a penny, is to talk to a loan officer. So we know that that takes care of the credit part of it, to find out what do I need to do to be credit worthy. If you can't buy a home today, maybe it's 6 months, maybe it's a year, maybe it's 2 years. But by talking to Marla and getting the finances, which is the biggest part of it, getting that in line, you know what your timeline is, and setting your path to homeownership. Is it a year? Is it 2 years? You'll know that from talk to Marla. And then the other one, resources and finances. One thing that we've talked about too, we talked about the American Dream Program. One thing that I love about Marla and US Bank is that they have the down payment assistance program. Whether you need 5,000 or up to 10,000, if you qualify, if you may have money available, up to $10,000 potentially in down payment assistance programs. If you could get that or some number somewhere between 5, 10, or somewhere in there, could that be helpful to a lot of people? Yeah. And so we have someone sitting in the room right here today that has access to down payment assistance if you qualify to walk through that process. And if not, she'll tell you how much you need to save on your own. Those two barriers today, you know someone who can help you overcome them, and her name is Marla, and she's sitting right there. Raise your hand. All right, so the plan starts there. And then, so the question we talked about, why are you here today? Because we already talked about that. So what we're going to do is move on to talking about what wealth looks like with home ownership, and how it means wealth, and how does it lead to wealth creation. We know a lot of people say that home ownership is the gateway into the middle class, or towards building financial independence. What does that mean? What does that look like? So the National Association of Realtors, again, I'm going to quote them a lot. So they say the average net worth in 2021 of a homeowner is $320,000, and of a renter, $8,000. And I think that's probably high for a renter. Wouldn't you say that? Mm-hmm. I don't know a lot of renters who have net worth less than about cars and things along those lines. But I know which category I'd rather be in. I'd rather be in a home ownership category. Mm-hmm. And so our goal today is to talk about what we need to do to get everyone there. Because almost everybody can buy a home. Like Marla said, even people that have fixed incomes, if it can happen to them, it's worth the conversation of her to say, can it happen for me And if so, what do I need to do? This is Andrew Carnegie from a long time. Anybody remember him? He's one of the richest people in the country. Right, when he says 90% of all millionaires become so through owning real estate. And so many times you hear about people who have a lot of money and wealth is from real estate. So what does that look like? And Marla talked about home equity. So this is it again. So if you buy a house in 2023, if you buy it for $100,000, and let's say in 5 years to 10 years, it's now worth $150,000. You just earned $50,000. $50,000 is your equity. It's the difference between what you owe on the property and what it's worth. And so that's why when you see people tracking how much houses sell for in their neighborhoods, they're trying to figure out, what is my house worth today, because they know how much they owe on it, and they can calculate how much they'll make out of it. I have a niece that she was probably maybe 3 or 4 years ago, she's probably 28, 29 years old or so, and she bought her first home using the down payment assistance program. And then she started looking at what some of the houses were selling for, because in the last couple of years, the market has gone crazy. Have you guys heard about that? Mm-hmm. Crazy. I mean, you can sell stuff for prices you never would have imagined. So the house that she had purchased 3 years earlier, she said, Stacey, I think I want to sell my home. She sold her home, and she put $52,000 in her bank account after she sold her home. She made $50,000, $52,000 worth of equity after owning her home for 3 years. Is that a lot? That's something. So she did that just in the last 3 or 4 months. She purchased another home. She used some of that money and purchased another home. She's going to do it again and again. And so imagine how proud we are that she did that. If that's another example, because what she said when she did that, she said she's setting it up for her family legacy to prepare for a home. For her family, building a family. And so just in owning a home, she got $50,000, and I don't know where else you can do that quickly. If you're going to live somewhere, you're going to pay rent somewhere, or you're going to pay a mortgage. And many times the mortgage payment is going to be a little bit less than the rent. But you have to watch out for that. Okay, so I'm going to give you an example. We're just going to run through this really quickly about how wealth really comes from home ownership. So let's say you have that $50,000 worth of equity. You have your house, you have $50,000, sitting in there, the equity. And let's say you decide you wanted to buy another one. And we can find out from Marla, can people buy investment properties? Can you help people buy investment properties?
Absolutely. You can own a home and then still purchase an investment property. Absolutely. With US Bank, you can have 4 different mortgage loans at one time. Yeah.
Now, and so imagine that. So you see people that are investors, you think, well, I want to be an investor. Why can't your first house be your first investment? So that's what my husband and I did. When we moved out of our house, we kept it, we rented it out. And we had equity in it. So just imagine that in your first house, you have $50,000 worth of equity in it. And so you decide you want to leave, that really is not necessary there. But let's say you leave your house, you want to rent it out for $1,500 a month. And let me tell you this, people who know vouchers, how much you get on a 3-bedroom voucher? Somewhere around $1,500. So it can happen anywhere in the city if you have a house. You say, okay, I can get $1,500 a month, and so in a year you generate income of $18,000 of revenue. So if you're an investor, that's your income that you made that year. You made $18,000.
Stacey, can I add to that, since you're talking about investment? So let's say you own a house and you then want to become investment. You can take money out of the equity of your house to use for the investment, or if you're in the first house and you're going to sell it, or you can pull money out of the first house to buy the second house. So you can leverage it. Yes.
So anybody can be an investor. You own your home, you can still live in it and use your equity. That's how you use your equity. And we're going to talk about that in a second too. So thank you for saying that, Marlon. So almost anybody can be an investor. So keep that in mind. You see people out there buying and having houses here and there, that can be you. So let's say there's your income for a year, $18,000. Okay, so in 5 years, let's say you've already hold it for 5 years, you've generated $90,000 in revenue from that one property in 5 years, just by collecting rent on it every month, $1,500 a month. That makes sense? Okay. And so let's say you become an investor, you end up with 7 properties. You buy one at a time, just what my husband and I did, one at a time. And then you end up with 7 houses. In a 5-year period, this is an investor like your portfolio, in a 5-year period, that's over $90,000 in income for each one of 7 years, over 5 years, 7 properties. In that time, 7 properties, 5 years, $630,000 worth of revenue that you generated from your property. That makes sense? And so, then if you look at, all of your 7 properties, if you have $50,000 in equity in those properties, that's $350,000. Your rent and equity on those properties. Do we have someone that's almost doing there right there? You can be a millionaire. From all these 7 properties that you buy it right, and then you rent it out, you generate revenue from them, 5 years, they appreciate, you get the $50,000 in equity. That's how people can become millionaires, and owning rental properties. That's kind of a lot. Does it make sense? One property at a time, all you have to do is buy the first one. Okay. So that's how you build generational wealth, and again, that first investment property can be the house that you live in. So how do you protect your assets and wealth once you have it? You have your house, you have a couple houses, you need to protect it. One of the first things we need to operate from a wealth mindset. So many people today operate either from a poverty mindset or a scarce mindset, where you just don't think that it's possible. And I think after today, and hearing all the things you've heard today, how many of you feel like it is possible not only to own a home, but to own multiple homes? It is possible. So what I want you to think about is your wealth mindset. Like, I'm going to do it, here's my plan. And remember, we talked about how long does it take? It's going to be 6 months, is it going to be a year or 2 years? Once you get your plan in place, then you start setting in motion the things that you need to do. And your mindset is always about how you're going to accumulate and build wealth. Plain and simple, you're building wealth, you're building it for the family, you're creating a family legacy. You need to have something to pass along to the babies when you pass away. And so if you rent and you die, that's so harsh. What are you leaving? What are you leaving for the kids? What are you leaving for the future generations?
Debt.
Absolute debt, or nothing, or a car, clothes, jewelry. Or wouldn't it be better to leave them real estate, something they can look at? The majority of the white families that have wealth, a lot of it comes from passing along real estate over generations. If we haven't done it, let's start today. So my husband, and I have started on that plan, so we kind of accidentally stumbled into it. But we bought our first house, and then I met a real estate agent, and she was coming from being a teacher. And real estate agents, here shortly, we don't make a regular paycheck or salary. We don't get paid. We're 100% commission. We don't get paid unless we sell a house and it goes to closing. We get the key, and it's done. And so we don't have benefits. We don't, like a lot of people, like this lady, this agent was a teacher, so she was coming from being a teacher to being a real estate agent, and she had pensions and all those kinds of things, and retirement plans as a teacher. We don't have that. When you're in business for yourself and self-employed, you don't have that. So this agent said what her plan was that she was going to buy 10 houses that all, one at a time, that all rented for $600 each, and by the time the renters and then paid them off, she'd retire. And so her rental income is going to come from those 10 properties, is at least going to be $6,000 a month. And she's going to have paid off assets, all that real estate is going to be paid off. And so my husband and I looked at it like, sounds good to me. So that's exactly what my husband and I did, is we purchased, over the years, many properties that paid off. My husband retired 5 years ago. And so the plan worked, and our rental income is what replaced his salary, and he was able to retire. Any day you're going to see me retire, I'm going to be on a beach, and I'm going to see me in Tennessee. And so once you have everything, you need to protect it. So estate planning does that. So one thing that we know, and you'll see this picture out there, within the Black community, within the community that we're in here, when you see a lot of vacant properties, one of the reasons those properties are vacant, because the person died without a will or without leaving that property to someone else. That's a travesty. It should not happen. So what you, and anybody you know today, if you know someone that owns a home, your question is, how are you passing this along to the next generation? How are you passing it to your kids? Someone that owns a home today, you need to find that out. So you have things, do something as simple as a beneficiary deed with a title company or a lawyer. Legal aid may help some people with that. They say, I just need to get a beneficiary deed, because that beneficiary deed identifies who they're leaving the property to. It's that simple. It could be, mom, I'm leaving it to my 3 kids, I'm leaving it to my next door neighbor, I'm leaving it to my friend, and that beneficiary deed is going to cost $50 or $100 to prepare. Go to a title company, check with legal aid, but get that in place. And anybody you know, we need to make sure that when they die, that they name where that property is going. This is a cheap, easy way to do it. If you have like one property, that's an easy way to do it. Beneficiary deed, please ask about it. Title company would be able to help you too.
And Stacy, can I add to that? I've had some individuals right after closing take care of it with that same title company. But it's important when you start acquiring assets to leave how that will be taken care of should something happen. And a lot of us are younger and we think, oh, I'll take care of it later or next year. once you acquire the property, it really should be taken care of at the same time.
So when you do close, great thought, when you do close, and this kind of company, because the title company signing your closing paperwork, ask them what you need to do, how much money costs you to get a beneficiary be prepared on the spot. And please get it done, so that way you protect their assets, and the property not sitting there or going through the probate, which can take years, and you know, but who's gonna end up with it? And then sometimes you may need a trust, like once you get, you know, more property, you may need a trust, but you'll talk to an estate planner or financial representative about that, or your properties may be in LLCs and businesses to protect them. So the goal there is once you start building, start thinking about estate planning, how do you package it up to leave it? My husband and I identified a niece and a nephew on each side of our family, the oldest ones, next to the oldest ones, that will take care of our things. They'll step in our place. We have a trust. So as soon as we die, nobody needs to know we died. When we die, the business, everything keeps going on. Our rental properties keep going on. Our property, everything just continues on like normal. They just step in our place. And so the trust is what worked for us. Property preservation, once you buy the property, you make sure you take care of it. If the roof is leaking, take care of the roof. If you have a leaky basement, if the furnace is messed up, you need to be sure to take care of your assets, because if you don't, then it devalues it. You need to make sure you get as much equity as you can out of it, so when you're in the property, please make sure that you have a nest egg saved up for when you get in there, so when something's wrong, you can get it fixed. That is your asset. You must protect it, and you must make sure that it is preserved, so that when it's time to sell it or pull money from it, that it is in as premium shape as possible. And then proper insurance, make sure you have insurance. When you have your loan, you're going to be paying part of your, part of your mortgage payments when you pay for insurance. But again, in estate planning, protect your assets, insurance, and any other kind of insurance you need to think about too. So you have to think about your future generations. When you're gone, what are you leaving to the next generation? How do you preserve and protect it? Is the question.
Stacy, can we also talk about insurance that it varies on the rate, and so you could shop around. If you're getting one rate with one insurance person, that doesn't mean that's the final. If you feel that it's not fair, your realtor can consult with you, or your lender. Check around. You can shop rates to make sure, because that will factor in on your payment. So if you're in a higher policy, it may increase your mortgage payment.
So just like anything else, great point, shop around, get a few quotes, because when you find, we're going to talk about this in a second, find the property, make the offer on it, then you're going to have to tell the property, here's the insurance company I'm going to need. So if you don't have a good insurance person now, whoever you use for renter's insurance, car insurance, that could be a quote. Ask friends for referrals, and maybe get 2 or 3 quotes to make sure you get the best price on insurance, because it will impact your mortgage. Okay, so that is that. And so these are books I like. Anybody ever heard of Dennis Kimbrough? So have you heard of Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich? Okay, so at the time Napoleon Hill died, he was working on a book called Think and Grow Rich, and he was focusing on Black millionaires. And that was his focus. He was interviewing them to write a book about them. He died, didn't finish it. So Dr. Dennis Kimbrough, who is a college professor in Atlanta right now, he finished the book. And this is a wonderful book to have, and I would suggest you either YouTube some of these people or buy the book. If you go to YouTube and look at he talks about Black culture, how they come that way, and he goes into all the details, and I think it's worth looking at. The video we did won't read the book. And Dave Ramsey, how many of you have heard of Dave Ramsey? Miami Makeover? Okay, so he has a radio show, and his whole goal is never to live debt free. They all do debts, and then you live debt free, and if you call into the show and say, hey, you're extremely debt free, his whole goal is to get the debt all paid off. He is one foot on the radio now, which you can also listen to him. There's another business came over to the bottom. And so I'm going to talk about just a couple posts we're going to dig into the home ownership process. Some of my posts we talk about it, your focus creates your world. What are you focusing on? And hopefully after today, building wealth through the generational legacy through home ownership. And then Thomas Cole, he's an economist, he's a Black economist. And one of the things he says, the only way to get rid of poverty is to create the wealth. Those that create the wealth get rid of the poverty, they destroy the poverty. And so our goal is to destroy poverty, and in doing that, we're creating wealth. And my final quote is Gloria Steinem. She says, wealthy people plan for 3 generations, poor people plan for Saturday night. And so my question for you is, what are you planning for? So let's change that. Any questions for me before we want to talk about?
Can you go back to that quote? That is so true.
So let us be those wealthy people And we're starting to plan for our nieces and nephews. My husband and I are down to, we have nieces and nephews, we don't have children, we have nieces and nephews and great nieces and nephews, so we're gonna work on that next generation. And so we have 2 generations that are underway. Okay. Any questions or thoughts or comments before we actually talk about the actual process? Okay, so we're gonna talk about the actual process. And at any point, if you have questions, or if you wanna contribute, this lady right here has some stuff to contribute earlier, some experiences or ideas that you have. If you have any of that for the benefit of the group, please contribute and join in. This is a conversation for us. So, the buyer representation, remember your very first step, just like Marla said, free consultation, doesn't cost you anything to sit down with a real estate agent. Just like with a loan officer for the real estate agent, sit down and talk with them, it costs you nothing. And so what is buyer representation? Marla did touch on it. In the old days, way back when I started real estate, which was a long time ago, we didn't have buyer representation. Every agent worked for the seller. So if there was a sign in the yard, and you were, this is back in the 80s, and so you were going to look at homes, but you didn't know that every single agent was working for that seller. And if you, as the buyer, told me, Stacy, hey, this house is great, it's $100,000, I'm gonna offer 80, but I will pay 100. I would have been obligated to go back to that other agent and say, hey, these people are writing the offer for 80, they'll pay 100. Everybody worked for the seller. And in the after the late 80s, there was some consumer research done, and they asked buyers, who does your agent work for? Most buyers thought that the agent worked for them, and the answer was no. So from that, because a lot of buyers misunderstood, they were sharing things with the real estate agent that shouldn't have been, because the agent wasn't representing their best interest. Buyer agency was formed. So buyer agency is formed, and it puts us in a position where we advocate for you. We are, just like Marla mentioned, a lawyer situation. It's almost like a client-lawyer relationship. We have a written agreement with you, and it puts us in a position where we represent you and terms and conditions that are best for you. And so if I find out, for example, that the seller is going to be going through maybe a divorce, and they're desperate to sell real fast, they'll take anything for it. If I'm your buyer's agent, and if I hear that or find that out, I can come back to you and say, well, we may be able to get a lower price for this. I'm in a position now where I can represent and advocate for you in terms that are favorable to you. So as a buyer's agent, you want someone that is looking out for you, that's gonna help you negotiate. And the way we create that relationship is a written buyer agency contract with a beginning and an ending date, and it spells out terms, what we expect from you, and what you can expect from us, and it is a contract. And for the most part, the commission, you don't pay a buyer's agent. The commission comes from the transaction from the seller, you don't pay a penny. So why in the world wouldn't you have a buyer's agent? Over 90-something% of the buyers in one place have a buyer's agent because it costs you nothing. Some companies have transaction fees which may be between $300 $500 or so. It's payable at closing from your closing costs, but otherwise you don't pay a penny to have a buyer's agent representing you. And so you'll see that communication.
Yeah, well, the communication, basically, that is part of what your realtor promises you up front, that we will communicate with you. We will communicate with you through text us, if you email us or call us. I personally like a text because I know who's communicating with me. And I know that a lot of people want the realtor to respond to them in a timely manner, and I make that promise to everyone that I'm going. I usually am always with my phone, so I usually am always communicative. It doesn't take me longer than an hour probably to say, to respond to you. If you have questions about the home you're looking at and you want to know more about it, then that's my job to find out what you want to know about the home. Or the houses, then you're like, hey, I'd like to see these 4 houses today. Can you go and set that up? And you communicate with from your lender to your realtor so they know what you're approved for, you know how much money you're able to put down, and give the realtor an idea of where you're at when you're looking for a home.
So the important thing is how you're gonna communicate, and then availability, because we're in this marketplace with things selling so fast, being a quick communicator is important, because especially last year and years before that, if somebody said I wanted to look at a house, you don't get in that house today, you can't buy it, because there are gonna be 10 other buyers with multiple offers on it. So having a real estate agent that is quick, they can respond quickly and get you the house quickly is important. But we just need to know how to best communicate with you. What's your ideal scenario? And in the marketplace, we touched on this earlier, we're in a seller's market still. There are more buyers than sellers, so the sellers are in the position where they kind of can call the shots for the most part. And different parts of our city may be different. I mentioned earlier when Marla asked about it, I had a seller, on 60-something in Forest that this old home that a buyer at, by the way, $230,000. 62nd in Forest.
Wow.
57th Lydia, I would have never imagined to put two in front of any number of houses. But in that particular case, I mean, that is the marketplace. And it's great because those people sold the house and took their proceeds and they are moving to Africa. They will be there on Wednesday. And so they took the, they've been in the house since 2019 and made enough money that they are leaving the country. And so, that particular house, they had it on the market, we had it at a higher price, and we started lowering the price. We had a buyer that came along, they agreed to pay $5,000 in closing costs. So it's not the market everywhere in the city where you just get, above list price all the time. It's not that way. Your agent will have an idea of that. But overall, for the most part, the sellers are in control. Home characteristics.
With the home characteristics, we want to know basically what type of home you're looking for. What will suit your family's needs? Do you need a basement that's finished for the kids to play, or you want extra room for an office? Do you really need more than one bathroom? These are the things you want to look at. And I know they talk about location, but and that's the number one thing. But definitely have in mind how many, like I said, how many bedrooms you truly need and bathrooms. Your basement, your floor plan in general, do you want something that's more open space so that it's more accessible for family members, or you need it to be more accessible to get around? Do you need a garage? And other things that maybe pertain to your personal needs. And I will include that when you're sitting down and thinking about what you want in a house, think about what you need first versus your wants. And have those wants in mind, but have a kind of more of a hard list of what you need out of the home. Because sometimes you're not going to get everything you want. And I don't know, what would you say is kind of the general rule about if you have, percentage of what you need versus.
And so some people, they start out saying, I want a certain type of house or certain number of bedrooms. By the time they start looking at the marketplace, they may change it. And so you have to be flexible as well. So, okay, so wants versus needs. And then, no, you're not gonna find everything. You may get lucky and find it, but that doesn't normally happen. So you have to go on something. And so if somebody wants to look at, you've seen for sell by owners, where they're selling something without a real estate agent, we can help you with those as well. Especially if you have a buyer's agent, just say, hey, I saw this house over there, there's a sign, they're not working with you. We can help you with those. Just give us the address, just like any other property. You want to see something, just give us the address. And a lot of the times, people think that the agents, like they do the old agents, they want to find your property. More often than not, the buyers find your property, and the agent is what they see. So it's not unusual to find it on your own. You don't have to find it for sell by owner, someone trying to sell it on their own. We can help you with those. You go through open houses and model homes. Can we help you with those?
Yes, we can. When you want to go into an open house, personally, I want you to go with you. If you want to go by yourself, you can go by yourself. But let that realtor that's usually holding open house know that you have a representative. You're represented by your own agent. And you can, if you're interested in that home, then you will let your realtor know. And the same goes for model homes. Usually they have
New home community.
Yeah, new home community. They usually have their own sellers, agent who's out there, telling you about the model home. And that's a whole different ball game. And I know Cindy probably can tell you different, and maybe if there's things that come different with the model home.
Same thing as an open house. Like if you have a buyer's agent, you go anywhere on an open house. Anybody go to open houses on Sundays? So if you pop in the one, you can just walk in and say, I have a buyer's agent, it's based on the house, and you sign in with the house. And they won't bother you.
Yeah, they won't bother you. And basically, that's why I told you to let them know. If you do have a representative, let that agent know so that you won't, fall into their,
Trap.
no,
And then keep in mind, model homes are the same, so the new homes that are out there, you can just walk through, especially regular homes, you can see that homes are open, same difference, just tell them I have an agent. Not a big deal. And then, this, we know, we have a lender right here today, who we know is a trusted lender. And they're not all equal. She talks about comparing fees, and so sometimes, we'll get buyers will come to us, they found some loan officer online. If they're pre-approved, that's what they want to work with, that's what we're sure. And our goal would be if they talk to, maybe they're gonna talk to that lender. At least talk to someone that we know that has a great reputation and gets those closed. Not all lenders can get you to the closing table. The lady here can't. And so if they have another lender they found somewhere online, something that I'm just not comfortable with, I'll ask them to talk to another loan officer, local that I know about. Maybe talk to 2 or 3. And then Marla, will you tell us, like, because people want to shop for lenders. So if someone talks to maybe 2 or 3 lenders, they always ask, does it hurt their credit report, their credit score?
It doesn't. So you can shop for a loan, and you should shop and know the products and services, but it only counts as one hit. So in order for a lender to tell you if you're fully pre-approved, they're gonna have to look at your credit, meaning they're gonna pull credit. But if you pull through lenders throughout a 30-day period, it only counts as one hit. So many people will ask me, is this a hard pull? Yes, it's a hard pull. We won't be able to identify if we can pre-approve you without a hard pull, but just know you can't shop, and within a 30-day period, it only counts as one hit.
So is anybody curious about that? Because people always tend to ask that question.
Yeah.
So thank you for that. And then remember their fees and their service, that's important. If you call your loan officer, can you get them on the phone? Can you get a return phone call? Can you get a response? Some of these loan officers that are out of state, out of town, can't hear from them. And then does the deal have a better chance of falling apart if the person is not reachable? Absolutely. So we need to make sure that you're looking at them, not shopping just on interest rate or fees. And one thing you're going to get from them, you're going to find out what all of their fees are. What is it going to cost you to close? You're going to ask each one. So if you're in the 30-day period, you're comparing lenders, you're going to compare apples to apples. You're going to probably get a close to about the same day, so the rates are roughly the same. You're going to say, how much, if I use you as my loan officer, how time to close, how much money do I need on the day that I close? And that's what you compare. And you can compare rate, you can compare service, and underwriting requirements. All of that's important. And so you just have to look at the lenders completely like anything else. Down payment assistance programs. I don't know. I always look for down payment assistance programs for lenders. And right now, U.S. Bank has the best one up to $10,000. Down payment assistance program. If you qualify, this will be one of my first options. Because some of them have a lower amount, so she can kind of layer.
I was gonna say, can I add one thing? I don't know if Marla mentioned it, but when you have your pre-approval ready to go, you are saying that you're a serious buyer and that you are willing to buy the person's house. And it gives you the exact amount of your approval, so you know what you're working with, and you're not guessing. You're not playing a guessing game of what kind of home you can afford, how much, and how least you can afford a home. So that's why I like the pre-approval process with the lender, because it gives you power, because you know exactly what you have to work with. And you can say, hey, I like your house, I have my lender ready to go, I have my pre-approval letter, here it is, and we'll get the earnest money and all that. But that, to me, is a very important part of it. Buying a home is being able to, in the beginning, go to these sellers and say, I have the ability to buy your home.
Right. Many real estate agents, and I work with Courthouse pre-approval. In the old days, we used to, we take them out, show them houses, and then when they got ready to make an offer on one, say, okay, now we'll talk to the lender. You had looked at a $200,000 house, fell in love with it, and now the lender says you're approved for $100,000. So there's upfront, get your pre-approval in place, so you have the ability to buy, you know what your numbers are, how much it's gonna cost you, what your payment's gonna be, what you need in closing, so that way you can go back to your real estate agent and say, hey, I'm looking in the $100,000 to $150,000 range. So that way we know where you're looking price-wise. So that's very, very important. And then something else to think about in the beginning, keep in mind you're gonna sit down and consult with the real estate agent. Who else is gonna be involved? If you need to have, showings, you need to have mom and dad there, you bring a husband and wife, both of them have to be on working available. All these things. This is not very so funny. Surveillance cameras, people have cameras and cameras. Go into the house and look, be careful what you say, including saying negative things about the house or talking about, hey, I love this house, I'm gonna offer full price, I'll offer over full price. Because you can give away your negotiating position. So just be careful with saying what's in the houses. And then your realtor, just like Sherrod said, we'll schedule your appointments for you. So you see something you want to see, then you say, I want to see this property on this day, and then we'll get the appointment scheduled. You don't have to call. Your realtor does that.
Well, I was gonna say that we don't want them to hear any negative things because they might not want to show your house, you want to because I love this house, I just don't want it because I want to get something bigger. People take their home personal, so you don't want to do that. And you, yeah, and like you said, if you say how much you love the house, and they're like, oh, I know I can get what I want out of these people because they've already showed their hand, they really want this house.
And then be careful on social media as well, because a lot of people will jump on social media, buyers and sellers, and they'll start talking about, I looked at this house, I love it, or whatever. And sellers and buyers, they check each other out. So you may jump on social media and find a seller that says, I'm going to do divorce, everything's horrible, my house is on the market. You think, it puts you in a position where you can negotiate. So be very careful what you say on social media, what you say to people, what you say to talking to the owner of the house and the other agent. Just be very, very careful.
And what we can have is a home match account that you can download as an app. And I put my QR code there so you can kind of look at the app and see how it works. So basically, you put in your information, you kind of set up how much home you can afford or you're kind of looking at, and it'll match you with homes in that area. And that way you can kind of see what's going on. What I like about the app is that, say you kind of like this area right here, the homes will pull up that are for sale around you. So if you like a certain area, I kind of let the camera move me around and it'll pop up with your homes and you can just click on and see how the home looks, pictures that the realtors place online. And I really like that app. And I'll give you a generic like mortgage calculator so you can get an idea of how much your monthly payments would be. And as Casey said, sometimes people just want to know how much their monthly payments are. They don't care about the interest. You know, they're more into that amount what they can afford each month.
And so I think that's a good idea. Like if you're in a neighborhood, you think, I like this neighborhood, I wonder how much the houses are. That app would be helpful to give you an idea.
And that's why I like that.
And then your agent's going to also set up for you a search. If you say I'm 125 to 150,000, I want to be in the center school district. I need 3 bedrooms, 2.5 baths, and 1 car garage with a basement. They're going to put that information in your search for you. They're going to set it up as possibly including. You'll get information as new properties become available at that price range and as they sell. So that you're able to track what's coming on the market. And you can say, hey, I want to go see this house. It just popped up today. Or, you see something, oh, that house that was on my, watch list. Just we're under contract or sold. And so your agent's going to have that kind of information for you. And so once you find the house now, so you've identified, you've gone out with your agent, you've looked at houses, you've identified this is the house that I want. How many of you are comfortable with the process of trying to determine what to offer and all that? Does anybody know about that or have any thoughts about when it's time to make an offer? Anybody have thoughts? Fear? So some people wonder, how do you determine what to offer? That's what your buyer's agent does. So what we'll do at that time, once you decide you want to make an offer, we go to work. We say, this is how I want to buy. We go to work. We're going to get a seller's disclosure for you. The seller told us everything they know about the property, the basement ever flooded, there's a new roof on. You're going to get a seller's disclosure to find out what they know about the property. So that's the first thing we're going to do for you. We're going to get, we're going to do a market analysis. What is everything else? Just like you do when you buy a car on Google. We're going to find out what are all these other houses that are similar, what have they sold for. We're going to provide that information to you. Because what if someone wants the 150 for the house, and we go back and we pull comps of other similar houses in the neighborhood, and the highest one only sold for 85. Is your buyer's agent, you think they're going to let you pay 150? No. And so our goal is to get that information to you. Remember that the ultimate decision is yours, but our goal and our job is to provide information to you to make a good decision and a solid decision. So we're going to do that, and we're going to help you identify the offer. We're going to talk to the agent and say, hey, what's the situation with the sellers? Oh, they're moving out of the country. They're desperate. Okay, or they need to have 3 months before they can close. They normally 45-day turnaround. We talk to them every time to figure out what they need, what are they paying, disposal costs. Yes.
The seller has the right to say, okay, I'm selling my house for 200,000, and if it comes out if the next door looks at the left and I cost 80, I'm still asking for 200. Does the seller have the right to do that?
Of course, it's your property to resell. If
So
you
it's
want to,
not like a price nothing, illegal, something.
no, you just don't have to make an offer.
The city say, no, all these houses.
Seller, if you own a house, it could be worth $10,000. You can say, this is a castle, I want to sell it for $200,000. You put it in MLS for $200,000, and it will stay there with multiple buyers. Because buyers are smart, they're watching everything else that's on the market, because you're going to start doing that, like, hey, look what the prices are in this neighborhood. That one came out, oh, that's too high. How do you time-wise?
We are up on our last 10 minutes,
Okay.
and we want to give out more raffles for people that engage and ask questions.
Yeah.
And then we'll have a raffle at the
Okay,
end.
so just like the seller can, put whatever price they want on there and it can sit, a buyer can offer wherever they want. So this person has a $200,000 house, the buyer comes in and offers $10,000. They can do that too. The seller will reject it.
Doesn't mean that they're going to get it for enough, but still you can try, right?
But it depends, so that's another thing where your agent is going to tell you, here's what you need to do to win. You know, if you want to offer, you know, the house on the market for $200,000, there are 5 other buyers interested in it, and if you want this house, my job as a buyer's agent is to tell you, okay, if you want this house, you may have to pay more than $200,000, which is similar to other offers. And so, the agent, our job is to try to help you figure out how to win a multiple offer situation and how to get the house and get the seller to agree to it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, so that's why you're a buyer's agent for once. And then we talked about this other matter, that's when they go to the together. You're already been doing it. You're already been like, we need to talk about it now. But when you find a house, within a 10-day period typically, of the contract, it's make it longer or shorter, you are going to inspect. And so you need to, at that point, be prepared to pay $500,000 to inspect. Inspection is not required, but it is suggested, and your buyer's agent is gonna suggest that you do it. Why wouldn't you? So you're gonna find out all these things about how the chimney good, is there a plumbing problem, electrical problem, is foundation good? And usually what you're gonna do is, if you're in the contract within that 10-day period, you do your inspections, and there's just too much stuff wrong. Then you can say, I'm gonna cancel, I'm out, and walk away. So you can take it to somebody who's inspection, and you didn't fall into the trap of buying something and not being prepared for it. Because you'll have 3 choices: accept the house as is, and say, it's all right, I'm taking it as, it's nothing, nothing major. Or you can, cancel and walk away, or what most people do is they negotiate with the seller. They can say, hey, the electrical's a problem, I want you to fix, there are 10 things wrong, I want you to fix these 3 things for me. Or I want you to lower the price, or I want you to credit me to take care of it. So you just start negotiations all over again when it's time for the inspection. So after you are successful negotiating the original contract and the original sales price, know that less than 10 days later, you're gonna come back and do inspections of everything you change. You can change the price, you can change the terms, because now you have new information that you didn't have before. And so the negotiation can change at this point. You can choose which inspections to do. Your agent will typically have an idea to do a couple of inspections. And then this, we talk about the recommendations. Once you get to the end of it, what are you gonna do? Which of those 3 things will you do? Home warranties are an option, you don't have to have one. Do you want to talk about home warranties?
One thing about home warranties is they, for new buyers are a good idea for at least the first year. I usually try to negotiate that the seller pays the first year warranty, just so that, anything that comes under the warranty, breaks or messes up, you're covered. And usually, I think you're not on there, the price is about $550 a year. And if you call them and say, hey, the sink is leaking, the cost is usually like $75 to $100 per visit. I've had to use the home warranty on our first house, and we save a lot of money. So I kind of believe in them. And of course, you take any kind of insurance with a grain of salt. So I would very much suggest reading through their terms of the different home warranties before you make a decision on them. But I would get one at least. Kind of a lot of new home buyers, one of their things is, how do I pay if something breaks? And a home warranty is one of those backup things that is there for you.
And then you can definitely negotiate that. Sellers to pay for you at close. I mean, you can, when you make your first offer, you can ask the seller to pay for it. You can offer to pay for it yourself. You can not have one, or you can come back during the inspection and say, hey, the furnace is older than I thought. Let me get a warranty. Or the appliance is a little bit older. And then again, like a $75 adjustable repair, then $1,000 or $2,000 repair. And you'll compare different warranty companies and who offers the kind of coverage that's acceptable to you. So warranties could be a good idea. Marla's already talked about the appraisal. So this is all, let's say the house you know is worth 85, but you say I'm gonna pay 200 because I love it. The appraiser's gonna stop it. Because for keeping in mind that the appraiser is, that's the bank size, that's another inspection, kind of a new inspection where the appraiser's going out, and they wanna make sure that the property is worth what the bank is going to be loaning on it. And so if the bank is loaning $200,000 on this property, this appraiser's going out and looking at those comparables that other sales, and they're saying, hey, wait a minute, this house is worth $85,000, bank, don't loan it. It only appraises for $85,000, and so you're not gonna be able to buy that house unless you make a difference in cash, or the seller reduces their sales price to $200,000. have to be careful with the appraisal. And this is why you don't wanna go in offering too much or overpaying, because you're gonna get stopped at this point and not be able to buy, and you're gonna have wasted money for your inspections, which you're gonna do first, which pay anywhere from $500 to $1,000. And the appraisal is probably $400, $500 or so dollars. And then if you get stuck here, the appraisal comes in low, seller's not going to do anything, you can't come up, and you walk away, and you've lost all of that money. So you need to be very careful when you decide what you're going to offer. You need to make sure they're going to appraise, so that's gonna be something your agent's gonna help you with. So right before closing,
And then during closing, it's usually, the time that you want to set up your movers, set up your utilities, forward your mail, and use, change all of your shipping information like on Amazon. And schedule your closing appointment, and that is usually scheduled 30 to 45 days from the time you put the offer on the home. And, most title companies want that at least 30 days, so, because you're using, funding from a bank, so.
so for our marketplace, if you wanna know, like, how long does it normally take the contract to close? Between 30 and 45 days.
Yeah.
Well,
Uh-oh.
we
Okay.
are closing to be competitive. US Bank is now closing conventional loans. Our SOA is like 3 weeks, 2 weeks to 3 weeks.
Okay, that's good to know. because
But
you-
but to add to that, that means you're organized. You have all of your W-2s, everything, anything that they're asking you, you're providing it quickly. We order the appraisal the same day that we start processing when we get the contract. And the appraisals are back within 10 days. And that's probably the same for most lenders, but we're able to close a conventional within 2 to 3 weeks, literally. FHA, I have one now that I'm pressing 3 weeks on, but it's possible. It's no longer taking over 30, 45 days, depending on the program. However, if you get down payment assistance through MHDC or even American Dream, it's possible it could take longer because it's a bond loan. It requires additional paperwork. So setting the right expectation, it may depend on the product.
Okay, so that'll be important to know that on that end, and then if you have to give 30 days notice, 60 days notice, all of that's gonna be important. Then after you get, before you get the closing, after everything is done, the appraisal's done, inspections are done, everybody's happy, everything's done, what you're gonna do is right before closing, you're gonna do a final walk. You're gonna walk to the property, has the repairs been done and agreed, is the property still in the right condition, do they leave the refrigerator that they're supposed to leave? Are there holes in the wall? Is everything the way it's supposed to be? So your final walkthrough happens a couple of days before closing. And some people, you can't skip it, and you don't do it the day of, because if you find something wrong, you lose your leverage. You can say, hey, the refrigerator's supposed to be here, it's not here, get it back here, I'm not closing. So you have a little leverage you can do it a few days before. Or you're supposed to fix the leaky plumbing of the sinks. If you didn't fix it, you need to fix it before I close. I'm gonna come back and look at it before I close and make sure it's done. So you need to do your final walkthrough at least in a few days before closing to make sure you know the condition of the property that you're going to get when you close. And then closing is just the last step. That's when you, if the ownership changes, you go to the title company that we talked about, you're signing your paperwork, which most of the mortgage documents, and at the end of closing, you get the key in most situations, and you are a so that is the final process, and then you'll have your dollar amount that your lender has told you, here's what you need to bring to closing. They'll have it detailed out, and they'll check and make sure the figures are all right. You're gonna take your cashier's check, not a personal check, not cash, it's gonna be a cashier's check to take to closing, to pay any down payment, other fees that you have, and that is it, you bring your driver's license. And then remember, after it's over, your real estate agent may be a great resource for you. If you say, I need somebody to, fix some plumbing problem, you have any plumber, drain plumber. And then remember, have your savings account ready. If you have a repair, you can't be sitting on a 90-degree day, because your air conditioner doesn't work, you have to fix it. So maybe you have enough money for any housing. That's just one of the drawbacks of housing, you just have to be prepared for it, it's not a drawback to take care of it. Then there's your realtor, if you have any questions, and the property tax time, when your property taxes come out, the realtor can provide some comments, when you hear about taxes going done, they can help you determine if it's right or not. Stay with your lender, your real estate agent. Next up, let's say you retire, agent, so when you leave here, the retire, you're going to take the letter, your approval letter, that you have to share, and then you're ready to get out of the agent. So that is it. Any final questions? I think we're, hopefully everyone. Yeah. So next time, definitely leave here. Sit down with the law officer, sit down with the real estate agent, Consultation, free consultation, get a project support plan. Other questions?
And I'm available to answer your questions if you want. I can give you guys my phone number. I'm pretty sure Stacy can give you her.
So we have somebody young in the right here. Are you gonna be buying a house? You are? Are you gonna be buying a house at some point? When? Probably right when you turn about 18 or older, right? You start thinking about owning a home, right? Good. Thank you for bringing it up. What about you? But you will buy a house? That's all we need, yeah?
So I'll give a couple minutes. Did you guys already give out some raffle tickets too while you were presenting? Yeah, I just asked, did you want to give out some? Okay, you go ahead and give out some. Yeah, we got you. I know y'all not doing so. Maybe all right, so we're gonna go get the drawings. Thank you guys, to all my presenters. You guys did a great job. I hope you guys did learn something new. I know you guys have been doing your workshop classes, for a while now. So I'm just hoping you guys did get some new information or made some new connections today. We will continue to have these sessions. We'll do usually the fourth Saturday of the month. Or now, because we have a partnership with Miss Marla, we'll probably be adding some dates to the calendar. So just keep an eye on our website. There's always tons of information about the distributions we do, giveaways, all that stuff. And just register, and when you register, check your email. Because we email everything out and just really follow up, and that's the way you kind of like our process today. Yeah, you guys go online and then you got an email that says, hey, check in with us. That just allows us to make sure we have enough supplies or enough food. And I know a lot of people sometimes will see something online and will hurry up and register, but are they really going to love it? So that's how we usually check in and make sure you guys are going to be coming to this. So we don't do all this for nothing. So I'm going to go ahead and start off with
Marquita, I'm sorry, are they needing to write their names on the ticket?
Yes, because I
Well, make
got
sure
to know who you
everyone
are.
writes their name on the
Yes.
ticket.
I'm gonna go around and get them, but yeah, make sure your name is on, and I'm gonna let you know what we're drawing for. And if you wanna go in the drawing for that thing, just raise your ticket up, and I'm gonna come around, grab it, please. No time to get it knocked out, okay? So what we're gonna do is, I'm gonna give away, I got 2 gift cards. I got 2 $25 gift cards to Walmart, a $50 Walmart gift card, a Starbucks card, and then like a nice little $10 Chick-fil-A. So those are the gift cards I have right now. And then also I have these cleaning kits. So this whole kit is